Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen. My name is Terry and we are actually in the middle of making applesauce cakes, but since they're cooling and I'll be icing them in a little bit, I thought, I still had pastry left in the fridge from when I made that quiche Lorraine last week, and so I should just get it out, I thought, and make some butter tarts, and that's what I'm gonna do. I've got the pastry out and raisins and took out some more eggs, and we're gonna get busy and make butter tarts. Okay, so stand by. We'll get rolling out that dough. Okay, we've got everything ready. I floured the area. I've used half of this chunk of pastry I had left over from last week. I have extra flour. I have my trusty rolling pin, lightly floured, that I've had for 50 years. And I have my cutter that I've, over the years, this is a really old chopper, and I still use it, and it's stuck together, but you know what? This circle of it for cutting out pastry for in these tart shells is the right size. So I'm gonna get busy and do that. I'll come back when I've rolled it out. Now, if you wanted to see how I made this pastry and rolled it out and everything, then just go back to my quiche Lorraine video, and it shows you step by step how I made this pastry and rolled it out and everything. And if you don't want to do that, if you just aren't into making your own pastry, or don't, go buy part shells. Lots of people do, apparently, because I see them frozen in stacks at Superstore and everywhere. Big long sleeves of them, so that's really an easy way to do it if you don't want to make your own pastry. Okay, I'll get busy rolling this out, and we'll be back to start putting them in the tart shells and filling them with the egg and the brown sugar and vanilla and raisins. Again, another thing, the grandkids don't like raisins. I guess they won't be eating butter tarts. Too bad, you guys. You snooze, you lose. Okay, got 6 out of that pastry rolled out, and I have this really cute tart pan. This one, it's got all swirls, makes them a little bit fancier. I have a lot of plain ones like this as well, some of them with patterns on the bottom, but this one's kind of nice for some a little bit fancier. So I'm going to put these into here just like this. You can see, like this and like this, and then push them down. Just lightly press them into there, and I'll do that with all of these and roll out some more dough and fill up some tart shells, and then we'll proceed to making up the mixture to go into them to make butter tarts. Okay, I'm all finished rolling out those tarts. Ended up with 20 actually, which is, you can make 6 to 7 with every batch that I have of the butter tart filling. And so actually I'm going to 3 times it. Little change. I was only going to make twice the recipe, and now I'm going with 3. So I'm just getting everything ready. Like I said, the shells are ready, and I'm also soaking the raisins. It does say to wash them, which is soaking, which I did do with the applesauce cake. It doesn't call for that, but I like to do it. So the raisins are soaking. The eggs are out getting to room temperature. And it also calls for vanilla and lemon and brown sugar. So I'm just getting all that ready to start showing you guys about putting it together. Oh, and it only calls for raisins, which I've said grandkids don't like. But, I'm going with it calls for a half a cup of raisins for every batch. So it would have been 1.5 cups of raisins. And I'm going to actually alter that. I'm going to put in half of that, 3/4 of a cup of raisins, and I'm going to go and grab some walnuts and chop them up. And with my chopper that I use to cut the shells, hope it doesn't break, really old plastic. I'm going to use half raisins and half walnuts instead of all raisins in these butter tarts, okay? There. Okay, I'm going to get started here. First I'm going to do is strain these raisins and get the water off. Because as soon as I've got this mixed up, I'm going to mix the chopped walnuts in with those raisins, because I like to sprinkle a few in the bottom of the tart shells. Then add the liquid, the eggs and the brown sugar and everything, and then put some more on the top. So makes it kind of nice, makes it more even, and then you know what's in there. Instead of mixing, I think the recipes actually call for mixing up the eggs, the brown sugars and everything, and the butter with the raisins, but then you're pouring it in and you're not getting the same amount. So I like to do it, actually put it into there separately. So I'll get busy doing that. I'm gonna beat up the eggs first. I'm gonna beat the eggs, 3 eggs, and then also the 1.5 cups of brown sugar. Again, the eggs are from my daughter-in-law Shauna and her son Chris. So just about out of eggs, guys. Going through them like crazy, so I can send down more. Okay, I'll get started on that and we'll be back. Okay, keeping with my 3 times the batch here recipe. 3 tablespoons of melted butter, and I really did use real butter. So 3 tablespoons of the melted butter. Calls for 1/2 teaspoon vanilla, so 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. Calls for 1/4 teaspoon of lemon flavoring. And so I'll put in 3/4 teaspoon of the lemon flavoring. And it also calls for 1/8 teaspoon of salt. So I'll put in about that 1/4 probably. So I'll carry on and I'll get that all done. And, oh, and I was also gonna mention that I have mixed up now the raisins and the walnuts. So they're all mixed together. And I can go along and put a little bit of each into the bottom of the tart shells. Okay, good. Okay, I've got them all filled with some of the raisin walnut mixture in the bottom. And I have a lot of it, quite a bit still left. Not quite half, but enough. And now I am going to pour in, and I've turned the oven on to 400, and that's heating up, and it should be all heated up by the time I get these filled. I'm just going to carefully pour a bit of the mixture into each one to coat the raisins and the walnuts, and then we'll see how much is left over at the end. And then after I've got them all filled with this mixture, and we'll see, I'll put some more of this on to sink in. So I'll go about doing that and show you when I'm done. It's always shocking even to me that it ends up that I have exactly enough that fills exactly that many tart shells. I guess if I was actually short 1 or 2, I could make them not as full, but oh well. They turn out great. And if you just might want to take a knife and gently just stir around the bottom. No, it doesn't, they soak in, so you don't need to really do that. Okay, and then again, just sprinkle a little bit on each top so they just have a little bit more sinking in, okay? Okay, everyone is filled. The mixture, some topping on the top that will cook down as they bubble up. And there we go. And I think the oven just about ready to ding. And what did we say? 12 to 15 minutes. So I'm gonna put those in, and then I'm gonna grab some tin foil and make up a few little jam tarts with the leftover pastry, okay? Now these little extra jam tarts I'm making with this leftover pastry, and I have my own bumbleberry jam, which I will make sometime in the future on a video, which is strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries. It's about the only thing I make anymore because everybody just likes this mix so well. Anyways, baking these jam tarts, I would put them on another dish, except for I don't have enough room in my oven by the time I get all these tarts in, so I'll just squeeze this piece of tin foil and scrunch it up and put them in. I'm going to put the jam in there, and I'm going to fold it over and seal it. But you know what really works well? After you've done that, and then you're trying to poke holes when the jam's already in there, it's kind of hard. So a trick might be, for you, is to actually poke holes on the half that's going to be the top before you fill it, so that you don't have to poke those vent holes after you have them filled. So that's just what I've done right there. I've poked some holes. I don't know if you can see that. Oops, there goes my oven. I'm going to get these tarts in. You know, these jam tarts, it's tempting to overfill them with too much jam. And then you have a bit of a mess. Sometimes I still do because it looks so good to have lots of jam in there. But just dampen around the edges there and fold it over. Fork press there. Hope it doesn't seem unseen. You see, just little jam tarts. Alan likes them. I like them too. Actually, I think most people do, don't they? It's like having a little mini pie. So that was it. I'm just going to fold those over. And after I get that one in there, I'll just show you. I'm just gonna just like this, just to crimp it up, because I'm out of room in that oven and I don't want to put it on a lower rack. So I'll just put the other one into there and pop them in with the Butter Tarts. Cook them all at the same time. Actually, at the end of the day, there wasn't enough room for those jam tarts on the shelf with the Butter Tarts. So let's just hope for the best and hope they don't burn down there at the bottom. Okay, these Butter Tarts are all out of the oven and they're looking just fine and they're cooked just perfectly. They're puffed up, they come out a bit puffed up higher. As they cool, they'll shrink down more like to the top, like this one's starting to already, to the top of the pastry. So they will just be fine, and I'll let them cool for about 5 or 10 minutes, and then I will gently, with a knife, lift them out and put them on the rack to cool underneath. So, okay, everything's out of the oven. The jam tarts are all out and looking great. The Butter Tarts are cooling on the rack. As you can see, the jam tarts did turn out lovely. They didn't flow too much jam out of them. Alan's just waiting for those to cool down, so am I actually, so we don't burn our mouths on hot jam. Anyway, and any of you grandchildren who actually don't have an aversion to the raisins are welcome to come by and check out the freezer anytime you like, you know, love you guys. And oh, and your parents too. Your parents can come by. They're welcome as well. Anyways, I'm going to sign off, and you guys stay safe, and we'll see you all again soon. Okay, bye-bye.